caramel. Made this morning. I used the caramel loaf. Now that's pretty hard. As a matter of fact, the longer that caramel loaf sits, it starts to crystallize. Because when I flipped it out of the tray, when I was cutting it, I could hear it cracking. See, because it's air. You know, they wrap it, when you buy it, it's wrapped in a wax type paper. Keeps it more airtight. So it is susceptible to getting hard with the air. But I made this. Now, I'm not going to make it now because what I did, and I have, by the way, the 3 I'm doing, I have the recipes over there. I made it this morning. I made it in here. I put a pound of caramel and 15%, which is about 2.5 ounces of heavy cream. That's it. I brought it up to it melted, which was in the 180s. Didn't have to boil it. And I poured it into here. That's 1 pound of caramel. But this is now, I'm going to pass this around real quick. Well, we don't have time. You'll taste it in a little while. But this is what I call, not me personally, but it's liquid caramel now. I could add more cream. It would even become more liquid. But now I've got to do the same deal. It's in the pastry bag. Here. You can pass this one around. You can kind of squeeze it, smell it if you want. We're going to eat some a little bit later. Alright, so we're back to the pastry bag again. This is still a little bit on the warm side, or cold side, so I got to warm this up. So, again, you can store that in the refrigerator. It will be pretty firm in the refrigerator. Take it out, put it in a pastry bag, warm it up in the microwave till it gets nice and fluid. These are just round spheres, we call them, right? That's a tough mold because it's smooth as can be on the other side. So when they come out, some are real shiny or some are not. This was in the refrigerator a little too long. It's a little bit, doesn't look good on this side, but nobody can see that side. So, all right. Let's get that out of here. A little bit more. Still a shade tacky there. All right. Did I turn it on? No. Not yet. Same 10-second rule. I have to do it twice, but we'll see. Last thing you want is caramel exploding in there. I think you just throw it away and buy a new one. And generally, you'll feel it. You'll feel it get. Yeah, this is good. That's good. All right. What? I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm sticking it in the bottom, and I'm bringing it straight up, trying not to slop it outside the mold if I can, leaving about 1/8 of an inch in there. I'm going to try to get it right the first time because adding extra after is a little difficult because it gets pretty tacky. Plunging it to the bottom, bringing it up, starting to set up. As you can see, it goes a long ways. I forgot. I think I scaled it out on the recipe. I think it tells. I forget how many it makes. 3 trays, maybe more. Okay. Okay, you get the idea, right? Same thing. This has got to rest. You get little tails, take them off. Just get them out of there. If it's too cold, you're going to get this real gloppy, stringy mess coming out. If it's too hot, it's going to melt the chocolate. So you want it. We got. I think we're right around. Yeah, it's like 90s, depending on where I hit it. Down the bottom, it's about 80 something, 81, something like that. That's fine. You don't want it too hot because you'll melt the shell and you got a problem. All right. So we fill that baby up. Caramel. We capped it. Now let's see if they come out. Let's see if they come out. Now, get yourself a piece of clean board of some sort. Because if you just kind of tap the mold, they're going to fall out. They're going to get all dented up. So let's just see. You ready? Oh. Oh. Did you get that? Wow. Wow. Assistant. These are edible. Wow. Absolutely. That was good.
She's picking on me.
That tells me it's in beautiful temper. I made this at about 10 o'clock this morning, those shells. It's in beautiful temper. Popped right out of the mold. Everything shrunk properly. Take a look and see if there's any of those little ring pull marks, we call them, or shadows on there. Should be pretty good. It's been setting pretty good. But that's a tough mold to work with because of that smoothness. That really came out nice. Now let's see if the next one comes out that good. All right, so that was number 2. Number 3 you're going to like because we're going to make the entire product right here from scratch. As I clean up my mess here. We're going to use the food processor. We already put 3 pounds of chocolate in here. The recipe's over here. There's 3 pounds of chocolate in here. That will fill it basically, this particular machine, right to the core of the top of the blade, right? This is the exact same machine, just heavy duty. This thing weighs about 20 pounds. Heavy duty, commercial, same as your Cuisinart at home. You can scale this down. Any of these recipes you can scale down smaller, by the way. So just, as a matter of fact, I think I put 2 scales on each one. But you can even go smaller, which is beautiful. This is going to be the small batch, so we're going to put in, I don't have the very first ingredient, Invertaste. The Invertaste is going to extend your shelf life on this product to about 3 months. Because we're making this with heavy cream. We need butter. Heavy cream. All the good stuff. Corn syrup. Not so good, but it binds the product together. Helps the water activity, so you're going to get like 3-week shelf life out of this thing. Not 3 days. So we're going to put in a 1/8 of a, here it is. 1/8 of a cup of corn syrup. Third. They don't make these things for left-handers. They make them for right-handers.
Yeah. Tell me about it. You're a lefty too.
And this goes 1/4, so we go 1/8. 1/8 a cup of corn syrup. 32 ounces of cream. So it's the whole deal, right? Which is nice. It's like a lot of cream, but when you add it to the chocolate, it's not. That's the most expensive ingredient right there, I tell you that. $7 for it. That's ridiculous. Okay. Corn syrup in here. the only thing I forgot to pre-measure this out. When I was going to do a cup earlier and I got carried away. Good enough. Microwave. Got to get this up to at least 180. Start with 2 minutes. Get this thing almost boiling. We're not doing it to pasteurize, it's already been pasteurized. We need the heat because I'm going to dump that into here. So I got to melt it. Now when I dump it in here, this is what's going to happen. I'll let it set for just a few, maybe a minute, to kind of help start melting the chocolate. Then I'm going to turn this baby on. I'm going to pulse it to get it started. You're going to hear a rumbling noise as the chips roll around. What's happening is that hot cream at 180 is melting the chocolate, just like I'd melt it to temper with. It decrystallizes the chocolate, and the high speed of the machine pulls the heat off, and we'll take this right down to about 80 degrees, and it's in temper. We've retempered the chocolate. The emulsion is retempered, which now gives me a nice, even emulsion. Then when I'm done, I'm going to add a little bit of the butter to this. I don't want to add the butter when I pour all that hot on there. It makes the butter break down. I don't want the butter to completely break down too hot, right? Remember, that melts at a low point. And then when that butter is all done, we're done. The whole process is going to take 2 minutes. So when I do it, I want to concentrate on watching it. You'll see it and you'll hear it.
Bruce, is there anything else you can use instead of corn syrup to sweeten it?
You can use glucose, which is sugar that's been heated, liquefied, right? You can use glucose. Most of the recipes will say glucose.
But it has to be a liquid.
But it has to
sweeten,
right? It has to be. Yeah, right, exactly. You can't use granulates, so it has to be glucose that's been heated. I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess I'm ready. Where's my Gizmo? 134 at 2 minutes.
So do you want your butter cold? You don't want it at room temperature?
Yes. I'm going to pop that in the microwave and kind of warm it up a little bit before I dump it in here. Because what will happen is if I do it cold, I'm going to get little pieces of butter hung up in there. Not good. Not good. That's going to create shorter shelf life. Close enough. Let's see how easy it is to work with this stuff. It's beautiful. You don't have to worry about breaking chunks up, trying to get the right amount. Three pans. All right, good. Throw that second minute on there, it should do it. And butter, 6 ounces. 2 sticks, or 1. Let's make sure. That's 3.4, so we're going to need a stick and a quarter. Or 1. We'll save the mess, we'll just put 1 in. Let's see what we got here. Got 145. It's funny, that last, getting that heat up, last 30, 40 degrees takes like forever, it seems like. Okay. Get the cream, got the butter in. Take this butter. vapor in it. Oops. Yeah, if you can just do it room temperature, you don't have to worry about heating it up. Got to take it out. Happens. Back to my damn rag. Oh yeah. All right, now the fun part. Let's just check it. 187. If you go too low, doesn't grind up all the chunks. Now you got a mess. So you want to make sure you get the right heat.
Does it matter if you put the butter in with the...
Yes. Butter, it's too hot for the butter right now. Like that sound. You'll hear it, it'll change.
So,
I still see a few chunks left in there. You can still hear
so we
them.
have to modify the recipe then. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now we warm the butter up a little bit. Put that butter in there. Nice.
What was the temperature of the cream before you put it?
180.
180.
I think it says 180 on the recipe, I think. That sucker's in temper. Look at that. That's good. There's butter in here.
Did I do something wrong? Oh, okay.
You could do it without the butter. I don't know why. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Where do you see this stuff? Containers. Always a little leakage, I don't know why. The smell is incredible. Sorry we don't have the smell camera going. So you pour this off, you want to keep it. Now, it's a little warm. Let's check it. Right now it's 86. So you could actually pump that right in the shell right now. If not, you can put it in the container, heat it up later. This is good. not sticking on my hands. Let's cap this real quick. Because there's a little trick in the capping. Get this off, clean this up. And what do we do?
Keep it in the bucket.
See, who said that? Somebody in the back?
I said you put it in the bowl.
Just throw one.
All right, can I make this? You ready?
Got it? Good
Well, at
catch.
least I didn't hit you in the head. You keep it, you put it in the bowl. Put it in the bowl. You could also use that for a little decoration on dessert.
Yeah, your chocolate pearls.
You can put it in a little cup and eat it later.
Or you can just throw it. Yeah, that's good.
That's why.
That melts in your mouth real nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to need this hair dryer here in a second. All right, we cleaned that spatula up. Clean that residue off of that. Clean this one up. We're going on time. We're good.
Your
I'm
big
going to
bowl
cap
of-
this.
Your bowl of tempered chocolate that got hard, how would you melt that when it's a solid mass?
Like that.
Yeah.
I would put it in the microwave and kind of loosen it up a little bit, pop it out, and cut it in chunks, and melt it down that way. Because to try to melt that 2 pounds at one time, you'd for sure burn it. It's a lot. It's a lot to melt. Because it would take a slow heat to really do that right. Okay. This is at room temperature right now, 72 degrees. But I'm going to dump 88-degree chocolate on this, right? So I need to warm the edges up a little bit on these things to make sure that they stick right. Otherwise, when you bite it, the thing could break apart, you know, and the bottom doesn't seal right. It could leak, depending on what the center is, because if you're flipping this over, it could leak. So what we're going to do, move these babies out of the way, is we're going to warm this up a little bit. Don't worry about the center. Generally, you got that pretty cold and set up. It should be good. Look at that. That edge is about 79 degrees. That's good enough. That's good. All right, now take it off of pause. Stir this up a little bit. We're going to flood these. Try not to do too much. Scrape some of the excess off. Vibrate. Air bubbles again, always air bubbles. You can't get away from it. Get that excess off. Now, I really don't want to push it that way. I really want to pull it. Because I don't want to do too hard, too much pressure. So I just want to ease that off. Look at that, see? Just kind of ease it right off. If I pull too hard, I may dislodge the mold or the shell. Because remember, the shell is already set up, so it's already shrunk to some degree. Now, we just did this one, so this is not fully shrunk. If this was done yesterday, I could reach in and pick these out by hand. But right now, they're not going to come out. They haven't fully shrunk. But I don't want to be too rough with this. And if you can do it only 2 times, better. The more you play with it, the more you're agitating those crystals in there. They don't like that. And it's drying it, right? Just out of the way. Right, I want to vibrate it again. I want to make sure I get all these air bubbles out. Air bubbles are not only not attractive, but they also will breed bacteria. You don't want that in there. So you want to get them out. cleaner the scrape, the easier it is when I turn it over and slam it down, they're going to come out. If I got too much on there, they might not come out. Even if it's too high, it doesn't look good. It's just not going to be good. All right. So that one's good. I put it in front of the fan. I let that air dry. We make a couple of products that are pre-made centers, and I want to work with them right now. I want to show you. This one is becoming a great success. This is Callebaut. That's, I don't know what it means. It's probably a made-up name, but it is milk chocolate, tiny little biscuits. I mean tiny, they're like pinheads, these things. Almond and hazelnut paste mixed in. Pretty yummy. But it has a fairly firm consistency until you start touching it. As soon as your body temperature hits those pastes and that chocolate, it gets real soft. I want to spoon some out because we're not done tasting, right?
Right.
I like a cooperative audience. Said no, I don't know where I'd go. So. All right. Remember, pre-made center. Now, what can you do with this? You can roll them in balls. You can coat them in chocolate. You can roll them in balls, just like a regular truffle, and coat it in anything. You could make little pieces and stuff them in shells, like I did here. So, in this oblong one, I've stuffed these crackeen inside these, topped them and shelled them. Now we're going to see. First of all, I want you to, and this isn't full, but I just want to give you an idea.
It doesn't melt if you roll it into a truffle, into like a well of chocolate.
I just want to give you an idea. That mold weighs 10, almost 11 ounces. Just pass that around for a second. Try not to touch it. I want you to feel the weight of this thing. It's almost 2 pounds. So you've got about a pound, or maybe slightly over a pound, of finished product in that mold. Feel the weight of that thing when you start filling them up. You notice it's starting to get a little bit of the gloss is starting to go away, indicating we had good temper. The thing is holding temper nicely. Let's see, still pretty fluid, still going good. That's nice. All right, so what we can do with this, how are we doing with time? All right, we'll go quick. We can roll these in balls. We'll do them in cocoa powder. And we'll put them in cocoa powder. Now I hate cleaning. And I love this new press and seal stuff they came out with. And this stuff is great. Even though this is a no-stick pan, still works pretty good. We're going to pop that out in a minute and see how that comes out. Well, is it edible?
Oh, yes.
Look, they're all smiling, so it must be pretty good. All right. Gloves. It's messy. Anytime you're doing hand rolling, you should use gloves. Of course, this is the time somebody calls you on the phone. You got this all over your hands. We're just going to do a couple. But you just spoon it out. The more I roll it, the more the oils come out. It's starting to get shiny. Then I just... Bingo. You don't have to transfer that onto anything else. Leave it in there. This, about a year.
You would be up to about 2 months.
And say edible light. Yeah, so that's one thing you can do with it. You can also, if you warm this up a little bit, you can spread this, and you could do like a bar. I could also, in that big bar mold, I could spread some of that in that big bar mold and make a bar out of it. There's just a lot of different things you can do with this. You can add it to something else. Like I could, here's another nice product that they make here. This is almond meal. It's almost almond flour. You can buy this here. I just saw this over there. Same idea. I'm just adding a nutty flavor to it. I can also dip these balls into chocolate using my forks. That's another course.
Would that sit up to an enrober, or would it melt on the enrober?
Now you could run these through an enrober. Yeah, I would probably make the balls if I'm going to do balls. Chill them a little bit, then run them through an enrober so that they won't, especially if it's a wire belt. You may even have to put a pre-bottom on them so that the belt doesn't, let them set up. So put little puddles of chocolate here, sit them on the little puddle, so that's set. Next day you could run it through an enrober, and that way the bottom doesn't rip off. Any soft piece like that, if you're not doing it by hand. You could do that. We could also go to the nibs. And I tell you, a lot of this, I'm just making this stuff as I go, honestly. When you have a supply of ingredients like this place has, it's endless, absolutely endless.
So do they have to be like served right away, or
No.
afterwards? Would you have to like chill them if you're?
I would chill these a little bit only because they're soft. So I would chill them. Then bring them out to serve them if you're up to room temperature. But yeah, it's just like a ganache. This stuff, this is at room temperature, and you can see I'm dishing it right out at room temperature. It's pretty, and it's got all those oils in them.
Could you roll them in the coconut?
You could roll them in coconut. Almost anything I've tried, you can roll them in. It's.
Is it after you roll them in whatever you want to roll them in? Is that when you then need to chill them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So these are pretty much. It can't be any simpler than that. You can knock these things out by the dozens.